we need to talk about this device here, the Rabbit R1. Now this isn't gonna be some kind of like technical review of this device. It's more of just a kind of early impressions of it. But the reason why I don't wanna do a review on it is because like the Humane AI pin, this thing is just so underbaked. The R1 feels like it's missing so many features that were not necessarily promised, but so many features that would make this product what it's supposed to be, that at this point, I just feel like this product is not in a reviewable state. So what does the R1 do? It's a hardware AI assistant, but it can eventually learn through its large action model. But this, instead of being an app, is a $200 piece of hardware. So it comes in this plastic case. It's actually a pretty nice case. It's got this like silicone rubber lining to it to kind of keep it protected when it's in the box. But the product feels like you would expect a $200 piece of tech to feel. It does not feel premium in any shape, way, or form. It is, you know, it's a lot of plastic. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it feels like you would expect a $200 device to. Now the screen, it's pretty mediocre. The speaker, pretty mediocre. The camera's interesting. It's got this like motorized action to it. So when you activate it, it flips upwards. And then when you're done with it, it flips back. But the scroll wheel is where I want to draw your attention to, because I think the scroll wheel is not good. Now, aesthetically and just visually, the scroll wheel is neat. I think that scroll wheel on tech is so rare that it kind of makes it iconic on this product. And it's also very teenage engineering. It's because they love these infinite encoders that you can spin forever and ever. They're kind of neat. So visually, awesome. However, you might be asking, what does the scroll wheel do? Okay, let me show you. So the way that you interact with this device is using this scroll wheel, and you can scroll through the menus. Now, the audio you're hearing is just coming from the speakers. It's not like a mechanical click or anything like that. It's also, it's a stepless encoder. Like there's no notches or anything. It just spins infinitely. And it's kind of cool. For the first day or two, I was like, this is cool. I like the analog vibe of this thing. It feels neat. It feels fun, right? But then you're trying to use this thing for real things and not just playing around. It's very frustrating to navigate menus with a scroll wheel exclusively because they don't allow you to touch. It's got a touch screen. It's got a digitizer. I'll show you real quick. It's like, get out of here. If you go into the terminal, you can tap away on a keyboard. Clearly there's a touch screen. It's got a very weak motor, if I might add that. But when you're in the settings menu, or if you're doing any kind of like option stuff and you're just trying to like use your finger to tap at things, you can't. They lock you out. So my question was in my brain, why? Why don't they just give me access to tapping? And I think the main reason why they do this is because if they gave people full access to their UI and settings with tap, no one would use the scroll wheel. This would just be a superfluous, useless thing. But by forcing you to use the scroll wheel, now you're scrolling. The other thing I found really annoying with the scroll wheel is that you would think with the scroll wheel that you could at the very least adjust the volume in real time. Like as an example, if you are using your device and you're like, I don't know, what's the weather like today? And
searching now.
You want to adjust the volume, you would want to like tweak it.
The weather forecast for
You
Toronto,
can't.
Ontario.
This is actually a great example. I want it to stop, right? But the way we do is you have to click the side button, hold on to it, and using your other hand, you have to adjust the volume. I mean, maybe you could configure it so you could kind of do it one-handed. Yeah, no. It's a two-hand operation. You got to click it, then you got to roll up, and now you've adjusted the volume. Why? Why, like, what is the purpose of this? Just so you can be like, hey, our scroll wheel is actually useful? I want to just tap stuff, dude. Just get rid of the scroll wheel. So if I had to redesign this thing, this is what I would do. First, I'd get rid of the scroll wheel completely. It's cute, but it's just not useful enough to me. And then now, probably just move the camera on top of the bezel. There's a little bit of room there. And then maybe add some hardware volume buttons. It is a speech-based device, and you might as well extend the screen because, you know, you got a little bit of room down there. And oh look, it's a phone, like the thing you already have in your pocket. And the more I interact with this device, the more I'm like, 100,000% this should be an app. And anyone who says otherwise, like I keep seeing in the comments about this reason, that reason. No, like just no. The reason why this is not an app, I already discussed this in a video, but it's a little bit long-winded. You should watch it if you really care, but they can't make this an app. And even if they could, they wouldn't want to make it an app. Like Humane and Rabbit, they wouldn't want to make it an app because it's not profitable. Okay, as I interacted with both these devices over the past couple of weeks, another thing that's come to my mind, it's a completely separate conversation, is how did we get to this stage where reviewers are being sent devices that are so incredibly underbaked? Like these are just not ready for the consumer. Like I don't even think these are ready for like early adopters who are willing to just beta test and play with early access hardware. Like it's so raw right now that it just does not make sense. And like put it this way, the battery of this device probably lasts an hour and a half. Granted, I spoke with the CEO, Jesse, who's saying that there's going to be some kind of firmware update in a couple of days that should help with it. I imagine it would be. These things aren't supposed to last an hour and a half, but the fact that it's launched, there are people out there who paid money for this device and it's lasting really short. It shouldn't be in this state. Same with the Humane AI pin. There's so much stuff that was missing and just not functional right out of the gate. The large action model, I'm not even going to detail it in this video, but if you were expecting to pick up one of these things and being able to do the things that they demonstrated in their demo when they showed the Lamb, keep dreaming, dude. It's not going to happen. But that's just the nature of this whole product category right now, these hardware AI devices. And it's like, what is going on? And I thought about it. I'm like, okay, the only reason that I can come up with is this. And because they technically have time, right? Why not just wait a couple months, put it out? I'll tell you why. Google I/O is in 3 weeks' time. Apple's WWDC, I think, is in like 6 weeks' time, 7 weeks' time. Those things are just around the corner. And the moment Google and Apple put out their versions of like AI-based assistants that are hardwired, like baked right onto the iOS or Android, it's a completely different conversation for Rabbit and Humane. They no longer have these like new interesting things. They just have these like derpy pieces of hardware that ostensibly shouldn't even exist. Now, I'm not saying that these things suck and will suck forever. I hope that's not the message that's coming across here. What I am trying to say is that in their current form, these things are so not even ready to be shown to people publicly, let alone being sent to reviewers and being reviewed. I actually think that this product, the R1, didn't even have a review program. Maybe that's a sign of what this product really is, but they didn't have a review program. It's just like a bunch of media, got some units, and if you want to make a video, go for it. That's really what it was. So yeah, I think the hardware is neat. I gotta be honest, but I don't think that this is the future of what this technology is supposed to be. One other thing that I thought was interesting, now that I've kind of reached the end of this piece, as I was using these devices, I thought, okay, you know how we have like a bunch of LLMs? The most popular one is probably ChatGPT, Perplexity is the thing that's running on here, but like there's a bunch of AI services that are popular and good, and these things are powerful, right? They're free, they're very fun to use, and when you use them, they're like, wow, these things can do a lot of stuff. But the usefulness of them is very limited because you cannot just attach ChatGPT or like an LLM directly like hard-baked into your phone, right? You can't have access to like your contacts, your emails, your text messages, your credit card info. Like if ChatGPT could access all of that stuff, it'd be scary, right? But if it was safe, but if it could access all of that stuff, the utility of these LLMs would be amazing. Like you could do a lot of stuff. They could be very powerful assistants to your life. The thing is, I don't think Apple and or Google will ever allow third-party LLMs to just be able to connect to their ecosystems to that degree. And I've always thought ChatGPT, like OpenAI's product, is so far ahead of the curve that like it's kind of strange that Google, especially Apple, didn't just kind of come up with their own version of this stuff and just publicly launch it and announce it so much earlier. But I realize that because Apple and Google hold the key to their ecosystems, respectively, they control this. Like they control how much access ChatGPT will ever have to their user base. And so the moment Apple launches or Google launches their versions of these things, and those things are hardwired into the OS itself, those could be so much more useful and so much more powerful than these third-party LLMs. So the point I'm trying to make is that I could see in the very near future Google and or Apple's version of these types of products outperforming and is becoming way more popular than ChatGPT is, just because they have access to all that stuff on your phone. And they can actually do really cool stuff, because as fun as it is, there's a limitation as to how much people can use ChatGPT right now. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video.